Okay, so in this video tutorial, I'm going to talk about data types. But firstly, we will learn about integers and strings and variables. So what is variables in integers and strings in JavaScript? But before that, I'm going to tell you about data types, guys, and what is a data actually. So as you know, the programming is all about manipulating data. So if you are asking what is a data, so data is information that we store in our computer programs. For example, I can create big data with your personal information, maybe with your name, surname, workplace, or your age, your position in work. Then, so let's say we have a big company and we have all data of employees. All right, so that's a data. Then we can add more things, more information, more personal information to your data. So what is a data type? So as we know that these things are all data, but in JavaScript there are three basic types of data. They are numbers, we can call them integers as well, and then second is strings, and then booleans. So guys, I will use my browser. As you see here, I've opened here my console, and we can open it by inspecting. All right, so we can go to the console and right over here our own code. Okay, so what is a number, what is a string, and what is a booleans? And about booleans I'm going to talk you about after just few videos. But right now that's the time to talk about and learn actually how integers works in JavaScript. So firstly, let's write some integers. Let's say integers, guys, that's numbers. All right, so the number 5, so we have 5. That's the how looks integers in JavaScript. And we can do some basic operations with numbers, with integers. So let's write some basic mathematical operations like addition or subtraction and multiplication and also division. And I'm going to write some, let's say, numbers. Then we can do a big numbers as well. Yeah. So that's the JavaScript, how JavaScript calculates numbers, and then that's the result we got right now. So that's not so easy to work out in your head, but JavaScript calculates all numbers and immediately you can get the results. All right, so you can use your JavaScript console as a calculator as well. So we can write some subtraction as well. Let's write 100 minus 25. You see how it works, and then multiplication as well. We can use 52 asterisk and 2. You see the result, and then the division. So as a division, I can do that. Okay, so guys, you can also combine different operations and to make something more complex, or we can do some math, just 100 plus in 2 multiplied asterisk, then 3 minus 100. All right, so that's the result. We get the answer. But I will do something tricky. Let's do another math. So 100 plus 2, 3 minus 5 let's do 10. Okay, so we got the result. So guys, in math, the rule is that multiplication and always take place before addition and subtraction, and JavaScript follows this rule as well. As you see here, firstly that was calculated, then 6, and then that's 50. 6 minus 50, that's the result. 44 minus 44, and then after that we can 100 plus minus 44, that's the result, 56. So the JavaScript follows this rule as well. So you can do more complex operations in JavaScript. So that's the numbers. We can do some math in JavaScript, guys. No worries about that. And then I'm going to talk about right now strings. So what is a strings actually, and how can we learn about strings, and how can we use in strings in our projects? Or firstly, I'm going to tell you about what means strings. So guys, strings, that's some words, a bunch of words, or your name, your email address, your surname, your let's say your friend's name, or your company's name, then and just sentence. That could be let's say you can write any sentence, guys, for strings. So strings in JavaScript are just sequences of characters which can include letters, numbers, punctuation, and spaces as well. So the famous word, maybe you are familiar with it as well, that's the hello world in JavaScript. We can do that. That's the string. So if you want to just enter some string, just type a double quotation mark. All right. So that should be followed by the text you want in a string. Don't forget put double quotation mark and then close the string with another double quote. That's your string in JavaScript. So I can write some variables, and I will just combine all information at the end. And how can we join the strings? How actually strings work? And firstly, I'm going to talk about variables as well, because I want to just explain in this video integers, strings, and variables. So we've talked about integers, we know what is integer, and we know right now what is strings. And let's talk about more variables, and then later start using all together. Okay? So the variables, guys, JavaScript lets you give the names to the values. Okay, so we can do it by variables. So we can think of a variable, let's say some keywords. Let's say I can write for variable, we can use the word var. Okay, variable. The just short name is variable. So variable in a name, let's say Tom. Okay, so we get undefined. So a keyword is a word that has special meaning in JavaScript. So variable has special meaning in JavaScript. That's the var. I mean, just var has own special meaning. That's the variable. But Tom, that's the word I can call, or something else. Not only Tom, I can give right here name or something else. Okay. We got the undefined right now, but don't worry about that. What is undefined? You can ask right now. Don't worry right now. So we've created a new variable called Tom, and the console spits out undefined in response, as you see here. But this is not an error. that's not error. So that's just what JavaScript does whenever a command doesn't return a value. So we have variable without any value, okay? So what's the return value actually? When JavaScript returns the value, guys? When you typed here some operations, if you remember, we've made something else here, and then the console returned the value 55. So the creating variable in JavaScript doesn't return a value. So interpreter prints undefined. For getting something or any result, you should give some value to the variable, to the Tom, okay? And let's say to give a value, let's say I have var name equals Tom, okay? So we can use equal sign and then give some variable, var name Tom. So again, undefined is printed here because we are creating another new variable, guys. That's another new variable. Right now we have two different variables, Tom and then variable name equals to Tom. So if you are right now writing name here, you will get the result, Tom. As you see here, right now I've called the name and then got the result Tom. So I have variable keyword here, I have name and value. For the name I have Tom value. So if I'm writing here name, I will get the Tom because Tom was assigned for name variable. That's the JavaScript syntax about variables, guys. And I didn't use the variable or var keyword because variable name already exists here, and you need to use var only when you want to create a variable. So not when you want to change the value of a variable. Okay. So let's write something altogether, integers, strings, and variable as well. And let's say I have variable name equals Tom. Oh, let's say bread. Okay. And variable surname equals Barker, okay. So full name equals surname plus name. So I can write here new variable surname plus, so now full name Barker bread. Right now, firstly I've written surname here, Barker, and then bread. So I can do here change my full name. Let's write over here full name equals surname plus equal sign, and then not equal sign, quotes, and then space, and plus name. Then full name, right now Barker bread, or bread Barker. We can write bread and Barker. Okay, so guys, that's the how our, let's say, variable formulas work. Okay, so we can call name our variables and then try to use all together, or numbers. We can use some numbers as well. And let's do another thing over here. Let's learn about doing some math in these variables, or I'm going to write over here some put variable, and let's write some my goal, okay, equals to number 5, and my goal equals to this is my goal, okay. So we will get the result because we can change the variable. Firstly, I'm going to explain this thing here. I've gave to my goal I assigned for my goal 5, and then I changed my goal to the string. So if I write my goal, I will get this is my goal, because after writing my goal equals 5, later I've changed the value from number or from the jar to string. Okay, so if you are giving some var my number, let's write camel case, and then let's write my number equals 9, or let's write 5, but as a string, that will be string, okay? That's the string, that's not number. That's not a number because I've used quotes. So I will give some variable my number 2 equals 25, okay? Number and string together. And let's do some math over here. Variable all number equals to my number plus, and again plus, my number 2, then result all num 525. You see, I got the result, and we put 5 in together. After the 5, we put 25. We didn't write any math over here. We've just got the result as a string. We've put there together, okay? If you will not use these quotes, you will get together 525, okay? Then if you will change in two strings together, you will get the same result. But if you want to math, you will not use for numbers, for integers, the quotes, guys. That's the main thing you should learn about, and then not confuse the problem here. Not get confused with JavaScript by integers. And if you have complex any complex let's say task, don't be complicated, and then every time try to differ number from or integer from string. So that's the basics about integer, string, and variables, guys. See you in the next one. So as a programmer, you will often need to use or to modify values. So I mean, you can just increase or decrease any value of any variable. So we can do some math and then see how actually it works and how can we increment or decrement. Okay, so now increasing by 1 is called incrementing, and decreasing by 1 is called decrementing. Okay, so now firstly I'm going to show you just one example. Let's say variable my score equals to 250, then variable full score equals to my score plus 20. Okay, and then what I want to console log, then let's write my score is my score or full score. So copy and paste and go to my first JS and then clean up here and put over here our code, and the result, my score is 270. That's the result. And then I can do something changed in here, plus, and then plus again. Right now that will be with space. My score is 270. But what if I want to add and do that by another way? So full score, I will not use that one. Full score, let's write, and I can use plus equals. Okay, so plus equals and minus equal. So let's do that. And then, okay, let's see it works or not. Yeah, it works. So as you see here, I can use without any writing the formula. You can write just the full score equals plus 20. That means my score plus 20. Or otherwise we can do that by minus. Okay, so if I do that and then copy and then put over here, I'll get the result 220 or minus 1. I got the minus 1 because I should do it like that, minus at first. That's how JavaScript works. Oh no, full score. I'm sorry guys, and I should write over here my score, then put over here my score. Okay, so clear, and then put, that's the result, because that the same value we should change. Okay, my score minus equals, and then change that as well, my score. Okay, so let's do that as well, and then put over here and then copy and paste the same code to our console. So I've got the I didn't go right now because I forgot to put my space, and then now, so my score is 230. But what if I want to talk about now equals in incrementing or decrementing, guys? I can do that by something plus plus. So that's the way we can add one more. Or let's say we want to do something like that, and then just put our code to our console. Now it's 251 because I did the same rule but with a different number. But there is another way, as we told in the beginning of the video, that we can increment or decrement. What is incrementing is like that. We can put 2 2 plus sign and get the same result. Otherwise, a decrement, we can do decrementing as well. 2 minus, that's the JavaScript, let's say, gives us this chance and 249. So we don't need right now anymore something if you want to increase your value by 1 or decrease your value by 1, you don't need anything, and write again your formula and then my score equals my score minus 1 now. That's enough, and we will use this formula much more time. Okay, so my score plus plus, and we can do that by in the beginning of the value or some variable, so that will work again. So as you see here, again I got the result, but that's, you can just use every time by after the variable name, okay, because that's the right way, and then more time we are trying to use it, something like that, okay, and then variable name, and then 2 plus sign, and then 2 decrement or 2 minus sign. So that's the main thing about that's the important complex tutorial about modifying values, and you can do more tasks and learn about how it works, and you can write more and give some values to your variables, and then train again and again and see actually how we can modify and decrement and increment the values as well. See you in the next one, guys.